Welcome to my video. Today we will know what happened in the wars of the Roman Empire. The might of the Roman Empire was not forged by its soldiers alone. It was their ingenious weapons and groundbreaking inventions that rendered Rome an unstoppable force. Today, we journey back in time to uncover 12 Roman weapons so clever, they changed the face of warfare forever. From devastating siege machines to the silent, secret weapon that bound the empire together, these tools of war did more than just win battles. They shaped the world. Stay with us, because our number one weapon is not what you expect, and yet it is the very reason Rome's empire endured for centuries. The Pilum, the Roman throwing spear. At first glance, the Roman Pilum appears to be a simple spear, but it was a masterpiece of military engineering. Its design was unique. A long, thin iron shank was attached to a wooden shaft. When a Roman soldier hurled his Pilum, its genius was unleashed. The spear's weight allowed it to punch through enemies' shields and armor, rendering them useless, but its cleverest feature was the soft iron shank. Upon impact, it would bend, making it impossible for the enemy to pull it out and throw it back. Often, the bent spear would remain stuck in a shield, weighing it down so much that the enemy soldier was forced to discard it, leaving him exposed. This single, brilliant design gave the Romans a critical advantage, weakening enemy defenses before the real fight had even begun. The Pilum wasn't just a weapon, it was a strategy that broke enemy lines before swords were ever drawn. The gladius, the Roman short sword. The gladius was the signature weapon of the Roman legionary, short, deadly, and perfectly crafted for close quarters combat. While other cultures favored long, sweeping swords, the gladius measured only about 2 feet, making it lightweight and incredibly fast. Its true genius, however, was in how it was used. Roman soldiers fought in disciplined, tight formations. Shield to shield, they created an impenetrable wall, and from behind this defense, they used the gladius for quick, lethal stabbing thrusts. These strikes were far deadlier than slashes, targeting vital organs with brutal efficiency. The compact size of the gladius was essential in the dense Roman phalanx, allowing soldiers to fight shoulder to shoulder without hindering one another. It was the perfect marriage of a weapon and a tactic, and a key reason for Rome's dominance on the battlefield. The plumbata, the Roman throwing dart. The plumbata was a small but deadly surprise. It was a throwing dart weighted with a heavy lead ball near its tip. To an opponent, it might have looked like little more than an oversized arrow, but in the hands of a Roman soldier, it was an ingenious advantage. These darts could be thrown by hand with astonishing force. The lead weight gave them incredible momentum, allowing them to pierce armor and shields far more effectively than an ordinary javelin. Roman soldiers would often carry several plumbatae clipped to the inside of their shields, ready to be unleashed in a sudden, devastating volley. This unexpected shower of darts would disrupt enemy formations, injure frontline fighters, and shatter morale before the main armies even clashed. The plumbata was a testament to Roman ingenuity, portable, surprising, and lethally efficient. The ballista, Rome's deadly crossbow on steroids. The Romans were masters of more than just infantry combat. They revolutionized siege warfare. The ballista was a gigantic crossbow, powered by massive, twisted ropes of animal sinew. It was capable of firing enormous bolts or stone projectiles with terrifying force and precision. Unlike catapults that lob stones in a high arc, the ballista fired on a flat trajectory, making it the perfect weapon for sniping targets at a distance. It could shatter fortress walls, tear through enemy ranks, or eliminate key targets with pinpoint accuracy. The psychological impact was immense. The fear of a weapon that could strike you down before you even saw it coming was a powerful tool of war. The ballista proved that Roman warfare was as much about terrifying innovation as it was about discipline. The onager, Rome's wild donkey of destruction. The onager earned its name from the Latin word for wild donkey, a reference to the violent kick it produced upon firing. This powerful siege engine was a type of catapult designed to hurl massive stones over city walls and into enemy formations. Where the ballista was precise, the onager was about raw, smashing power. When its thick, twisted ropes were released, a massive wooden arm would whip forward with a thunderous crash, launching boulders that could demolish fortifications, shatter gates, and send soldiers scattering in panic. The sound alone was a weapon, echoing across the battlefield like a clap of thunder. The Romans used the onager to soften enemy defenses before an infantry assault, proving that brute force was just as vital as precision. It was, in many ways, the heavy artillery of the ancient world.
The corvus, the boarding bridge that built a navy. Rome was not born a great naval power, but when faced with the mighty fleet of Carthage during the Punic Wars, they invented a device that changed naval combat forever, the corvus. Imagine a long wooden bridge attached to the front of a ship with a heavy, sharp spike on its underside. When a Roman vessel approached an enemy ship, the corvus would be slammed down, its spike biting deep into the enemy's deck, locking the two ships together. In an instant, the battle at sea was transformed. It was no longer about ramming or skillful maneuvering, it became a land battle on water, Rome's specialty. Roman legionaries would storm across the bridge, turning a naval engagement into the hand-to-hand combat they had mastered. The corvus was more than a weapon, it was a brilliant tactical innovation that neutralized an enemy's strength and secured Rome's mastery of the seas. The lorica segmentata, the armor of Roman supremacy. The lorica segmentata was the iconic armor of the Roman legionary. Composed of overlapping metal strips held together by leather straps, it offered superior protection compared to chainmail while remaining remarkably flexible. This design allowed soldiers to march, fight, and maneuver with a freedom that their enemies lacked. The armor was so effective that many of Rome's foes tried to copy it, but few could match the quality of Roman craftsmanship. Beyond its practical use, the lorica segmentata gave the legions a uniform, intimidating appearance, an army of gleaming steel that looked truly unstoppable. It was a symbol of Rome's discipline and engineering brilliance, turning its soldiers into near-invincible warriors on the battlefield. The Scorpio, the deadly precision shooter. The Scorpio was a smaller, more portable version of the ballista, essentially the Roman equivalent of a sniper rifle. Manned by just 1 or 2 soldiers, it could fire iron-tipped bolts with incredible speed and accuracy, piercing shields and armor with ease. Its versatility made it invaluable. Scorpios were positioned on fortress walls to defend against attackers or hidden within field formations to catch the enemy by surprise. During a siege, dozens of these weapons firing in unison would create a deadly hail of bolts, breaking enemy morale and clearing ramparts. The Scorpio perfectly highlighted Rome's genius for blending powerful engineering with clever battlefield strategy. The conquest, the spear of shock and awe. While Rome is famous for its infantry, its cavalry was a crucial element of its military might. The conquest was a long, heavy cavalry spear, often reaching up to 4 meters in length, designed for one purpose, the devastating charge. Unlike an infantry spear, the conquest was held with 2 hands, allowing a horseman to channel the full momentum of his charge into a powerful, armor-piercing thrust. A Roman cavalry formation charging with lowered spears was a terrifying sight, an unstoppable wall of steel and horseflesh capable of shattering enemy lines and scattering even the most disciplined troops. The conquest provided the shock and awe that complemented the relentless advance of the legions. The testudo formation, the living weapon of Rome. Sometimes the most powerful weapon isn't forged from iron, but from discipline. The testudo, or tortoise formation, was a brilliant battlefield tactic where soldiers interlocked their shields to form a nearly impenetrable armored shell. Shields were held overhead and on all sides, creating a moving fortress. Arrows, stones, and even fire missiles would rain down harmlessly upon this living shield. During sieges, the testudo allowed legions to advance to the base of enemy walls under heavy fire, giving them the protection needed to deploy ladders and battering rams. It wasn't a flashy weapon, but the testudo demonstrated the true strength of the Roman army: unity, coordination, and unbreakable discipline. To their enemies, it must have seemed like an invincible machine, steadily advancing no matter what was thrown at it. The siege tower, the moving fortress of doom. When Rome laid siege to a city, they brought with them one of the most intimidating machines of the ancient world, the siege tower. These were massive, wheeled structures, often standing several stories high. Covered in dampened animal hides to resist fire, they were essentially mobile fortresses. Inside, soldiers climbed ladders ready to storm directly onto the enemy's walls from a retractable bridge at the top. The towers were also armed with archers and artillery, raining down destruction as they slowly, menacingly rolled forward. Combined with battering rams and catapults, siege towers made city defenses almost obsolete. The psychological terror of watching a towering war machine advance upon your walls was often enough to crush the will to fight. The siege tower was proof that Roman warfare was a masterful blend of strategy, engineering, and fear. The Roman roads, the silent weapon of empire. It may not have a sharp edge or a fearsome design, but the Roman road system was the most powerful weapon of conquest Rome ever created. Stretching for over 250,000 miles, these masterfully engineered roads allowed legions to march with a speed and efficiency the world had never seen. An army could be deployed hundreds of miles away in a matter of days, striking with overwhelming force before an enemy even had time to prepare. The roads were the arteries of the empire, moving not just soldiers, but also supplies, reinforcements, and vital communications. Even after a conquest, the roads were what held the empire together. They were conduits for trade, culture, and Roman influence, ensuring that conquered territories became truly Roman. The swords and spears of the legions would have been useless without the logistical backbone that the roads provided. This silent weapon is the reason Rome didn't just win wars, it built an empire that lasted for centuries. And conclusion. And there you have it, 12 Roman weapons that forever changed the face of war. From the brutal power of siege engines to the unbreakable discipline of the testudo formation, and finally to the unexpected might of Roman roads. Each one a testament to an empire that dominated not just through force, but through unparalleled ingenuity. Subscribe to the channel to watch such videos and stay tuned.